What's up, y'all? Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be going over how to rig a fishing kayak. I'm really going to go over three things really. The first is going to be how to build out your kayak, kind of match your fishing style. Number two is going to be, I'm going to go over the tools of the trade, what I carry and my fishing kayak on an everyday trip. And number three, I'm going to go over some secrets just to make it easier once you do get out on the water in your kayak. If you're new here, my name is Kay. This is Ty's Fishing. Do all kind of saltwater fishing videos. So if you're into that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Also, smack the like button, turn it blue. Do that for me. I really appreciate it. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into my kayak and I'm going to show you guys what I'm rocking with. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to start at the front of the kayak and kind of work my way back, show you guys how it's rigged out, and once we get to the back, I'll show you what I'm carrying. Now this is a 13-foot ocean kayak prowler. And so do I recommend a 13-foot kayak if you're getting into kayak fishing? Not necessarily. This is a little bit long. We have two 10-foot kayaks right there, and those work perfect for fishing. And so what I personally recommend is about a 12-foot kayak. This is a skinnier made kayak too, so it's not ideal for standing up in. So if that's something you're considering doing when you're fishing, make sure you find one that has a wide base, about 12 foot. It's gonna be really stable for you and also not be super long or super heavy when you're trying to transport it to different areas. But that is what type of kayak this is. So getting into the kayak, here in the front, we have the anchor trolley, which runs the entire length of the kayak. I actually installed this anchor trolley myself. This is not a pre-made anchor trolley. I made this myself with some paracord and some little half O-rings. So, and I'll kind of go into it more once you get to the back where the anchor is located. But here in the front, we have a hatch. This hatch, I do keep nothing in. It's completely empty. I have an extra life vest that I keep in here sometimes, but it's not something that I normally carry stuff, just because when you're on the water, it's not very accessible unless you stop somewhere and you put your lunch or something else in it. Then maybe yes. I have a GoPro mount on here that I really don't use that much. And so kind of working back here into the middle of the kayak, I just got my life vest out here. This is something, make sure you're always carrying a life vest. I get in a bad habit sometimes forgetting these. Always have you a PFD when you go fishing, especially in a kayak. Here in the middle, this is kind of where throughout the day, if I have some lures or stuff, I'll kind of stick them around in this area. Normally if I cut off a lure, I'll throw it here in the middle of the console. If I'm throwing a certain couple types of lures, I'll put them here in the middle. Right here, I have a little piece of paracord with a clip on it. This is where I will clip pliers or anything else that I'm kind of holding on to and I don't want to go rolling all the way around the kayak sometimes. And this has the molded seats here, the molded footrest here, so you kind of put your feet wherever you want. This is a center storage unit right here. I do not use this for anything at the moment just because it's a pain in the butt to get off, just because how old the kayak is. So it's not something I use very often. And then here we have the seat. Something I recommend if you're looking for a kayak, find one, and it's a fishing kayak, and you're gonna be sitting there for a long amount of time, find one that has a raised seat. They have some really great deals now on kayaks with raised seats, and so you can find one with the raised seats. It's gonna be much more comfortable than a kayak like this that has the molded bottom into it. So I really recommend finding one that has a raised seat like that, not one like this one, because my back does end up hurting almost all the time when I'm fishing in this kayak. Sticking to the middle of the kayak, I'm gonna go on this side real quick. Over here, I have a piece of paracord that I have linked from one side, from one ring to another ring. This works really well, or if you have pliers or fish grips, I just clip these on here like such, let them lay there and kind of keep them out of the way and keep them, let's say, from going over the edge, or even if I roll for some reason, I'm not gonna lose all of my gear. Here on the sides, I also have two paddle bungees, one right here and one over here on this side. As you can see, it's holding my paddle. Right now, that's where I secure my paddle when I'm anchored up and everything and ready to go. So that's really the middle of the kayak. We're gonna start working to the back now. Here in the back, the first thing I added to this kayak is an anchor tie off. So what this does here is allows me to loop my anchor rope through it and tie it off. And so getting to the anchor stuff, I'm gonna go over the complete trolley system. So the trolley system is really two parts. I have like I said, a ring here at the beginning with paracord ran down. It's really easy to make with a latch tied on here in the middle, and then this is tied to the main handle with another carabiner, which allows this to slide. So the way this will work, let's say if I want my front end to be toward the fish, if I'm in a different type of current, I can throw my anchor in, put my anchor rope in this and pull this, and it will make my anchor rope go to the front of kayak, therefore changing the way I'm facing when you're anchored up. And so these are super handy for kayak fishing. This is something you have to make. I think I spent $5 on materials for this or something. Here in the back, I have the same system tied off to the handle with a carabiner with some paracord running to another clip. So like I said, I put my rope in here, close this, and I can grab this as I'm sitting in the kayak and move my anchor rope to the back of the kayak if the current or wind, whichever way it's trying to pull me, just to make sure I'm facing the right way when I'm casting, and then simply tie off the rope right here. So that makes it really easy if you are going to be kayak fishing, especially anything in wind or in any type of current. I highly recommend you putting an anchor trolley on your kayak, just because it's going to save you so much hassle and keep you from bending or turning weird ways when you're trying to cast, or even when you're trying to land a fish. Something you really need to do, take the time, make sure you do that. That's the front and middle of the kayak. Now we're getting to the business end of it. This is where I carry all the good stuff. That's what everyone's here for. If you guys watch any of my videos before, you know I do a lot of fishing with live bait, whether it be shrimp, sometimes croaker, if I'm feeling like spending money. But this is where I keep my bait bucket. That's something good about the 13-foot kayak. It has enough room for me to not only carry a bait bucket, also carry a full-size crate back here in the back. So my bait bucket goes right here. I have a net in here. This is where I'll keep my shrimp or my croaker. Nice and easy, right behind the seat. I can access it. Don't have to bend. Don't have to put anything over the water, over in the side of the kayak. I can put a bubbler on here or bubbler back here, run it into here. Everything's done with as far as bait. Here's where I keep my anchor. This is the anchor I was talking about earlier. It goes on the anchor trolley. This is your typical fold-out style anchor. I think I have 20 or 30 foot of, it's 20 foot of rope. I don't think you need 30 foot. 30 foot is probably overkill. 20 foot of rope right here to this anchor. This is the 5-pound version of it, the fold out. This is what I use. Holds me perfectly fine for any applications, never came off. So definitely get you a kayak anchor. These fold up ones are great as far as being able to fold up and kind of get out of the way. Moving here to the back, this is my fishing crate. So I did build this crate separately. I'll kind of go over some details of it here to kind of show you guys how I rigged it out. Fishing crates are one of the best things, like I said, you can make. Go find a fishing crate on like some old dumpster, or find one laying around your house somewhere, and a couple PVC tubes. That's really all you need, and it's going to save you a lot of hassles. You're not going to have rods flying everywhere on your kayak. So kind of getting into my crate, what do I have on it? So this is your typical milk crate right here, and I have 3 PVC holders here on the inside. There's one here, one here. There's also one located in the back. Now I secured these with bungees that I found at Walmart, but you can use zip ties, whatever you want to do. Tie it off simply, some way to have the PVC. Cut the PVC to fit inside, tie them off just like that. Great place to hold your rods, because on a normal kayak you're going to have these type styles of rod holders. Now if you can see the difference, these rods are running straight up. Everything is out of the way. If you're casting, you're not going to get into it. If you put a rod into here, this is how it sits. So you can definitely see how if you were using these 2 rod holders to hold your rods, it's going to be taking a lot more space. It's going to be getting in the way. So make yourself a fishing kayak. You can easily store your rods right behind you, running straight up. You don't have to worry about really hooking them when you're casting or landing a fish, line getting tangled up. It's a great way to organize some of your gear. Here on the side, I have a little piece of wood where I've cut some extra PVC slots. Now, right now I have my pliers and fish grips sitting in these. Oftentimes I can hook a top water on here or something else. This keeps an arm reach from my seat. I can just reach back here and grab these out. It keeps them from, like I said, rolling around the kayak when I don't want them to. Keeps everything organized. Here on the back, I do not use this anymore. I used to put this the other way. This is a piece of PVC with a bunch of holes in it. This works great if you're fishing with a bunch of lures throughout the day and you're cutting them off. You can simply cut them off and hook them in these holes and just let them hang here on the side of your crate. So at the end of the day, when you're ready to wash them, you can just simply pick them all up, wash them all off, keep them from rusting. I don't use this as much anymore. I used to use it all the time, but it's a great kind of little thing to have on your crate if you want to add it. So that's kind of the outside of the crate and how it was built. Now I'll get into it and show you guys exactly what I carry. So inside my crate, what I normally do, this is why I love having the bag style of tackle box that has these individual boxes in them, because I simply transfer the boxes from my tackle bag into my tackle crate, and that makes it extremely easy. And I can just rock with the exact same fishing tackle that I would on any normal fishing trip. So I'll have my popping corks, weights, hooks, croaker shakers in this one, top waters, all my hard baits here in this box. And here I have my soft plastics and the other soft plastics that I'm fishing with. So that's really the tackle that I take. 2 other must-haves: fish grips. Fish grips. Have fish grips, some type of way to grab the fish once you net it, and a pair of pliers. Those are necessities. Don't leave home without those. And then also you need a net. I don't have my net with me here right now, but please bring you a net when you go kayak fishing. I use the wade nets, the Forever Last wade nets. They work great for wade fishing, also kayak fishing. You need a way to get that fish really from the water into your kayak, and that will help with that so much, make it so much more enjoyable. So as far as besides really the pliers and also my tackle, only thing extra really I carry is I carry waters. Always have some extra waters in my crate just for if if you get thirsty, get in a bad situation, or you want to carry some snacks with you too. And then I also carry hydrogen peroxide. If you get a cut, any type of hook yourself, you need to dress a wound, I really don't have to carry stuff to dress a wound, I just carry stuff to clean the wound because I want to make sure that I don't get infected. Water's always not as clean as it looks. And I have some miscellaneous kind of soft plastics laying around in here, which will be different on any given day. Finally, the third thing for this video, the 3 tips I'm going to give you guys real quick from when you finally get out there in your new built kayak and you're ready to start catching some fish. The first thing I recommend is making sure somehow, some way, almost everything that you have is tied off to your kayak besides your rods and maybe your net and your paddle. I personally have pliers. I clip them to, like I said, this string here, pliers, fish grips, and most stuff is always clipped to something, especially when I'm not using it, just to make sure if something does happen and you roll over, you don't lose all your gear. Even my crate, I have bungees that I run from the side of my crate that attach here on the side to these little knobs. And so from here to here, so that will attach my crate to my kayak in the case I do roll over. I'll probably lose most of my stuff in the kayak, but at least my rods and everything will likely still be in the crate for a little bit, at least when I first roll over. So try to attach as much stuff as you can to your kayak. That is a safe bet. My number 2 tip is going to be if you hook into a big fish or something that is dragging you around in your kayak, use it to your advantage. You have some more weight when you're fishing with the kayak. Don't be in a rush to get a big fish up to you really quick, as it's going to be much harder to handle. Let the fish drag you around a little bit, wear itself out, so when you do get it up to your kayak, you can get it in the net much easier and get it inside your kayak and get it unhooked and do everything else you want to do with it. So don't be in a rush. If you hook into a big fish, to get it right to the kayak, use the kayak to your advantage. Let it drag you around a little bit, wear that fish out, and so it makes it much easier. Get it in the net and you can land it. My third and final tip is kind of surrounding safety in general. As a kayak fisherman, stay aware of where you are. There can be some very high boat traffic areas, so making sure that you kind of always keep an eye out for boats, and when you're crossing especially popular waterways or early in the morning or late at night, make sure you just kind of keep your head on a swivel, watch for boat traffic, make sure that boats see you and that you see the boats, and just kind of stay aware and make sure that you stay safe out there in the water. The second thing is check the weather for a full day of fishing before you go out and on your trip. I've been caught in bad weather before on a kayak, and it is not fun and it is not safe. So make sure before you go out fishing, check an entire day's weather so that you are prepared for anything that might come your way once you get out on the water that day. But that is the video, everyone. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, found it helpful, hit the subscribe button. Also, drop a like on the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.